Hey channel, welcome back. It has been a long time since I've put out a video on this photography YouTube channel, and I apologize for that. I have been seriously lacking on this channel, focusing a lot of my attention on my motorcycle channel. If you don't know about that, it's Robert White Moto. Jump over there and see that. But let's get caught up on some things on this photography front. Let's take a nature walk, see if we can find anything after a beautiful rainstorm this morning. See if we can see anything to shoot. Y'all join me. Some beautiful little redbirds over here. Just kind of hopping in and out of that sun. Beautiful little shots. Ever so often can see a hint of color. Y'all come out of the shade, will you? Testing out my Go Ultra late this afternoon on the clip designed to go on the bill of your hat. So that's where you guys are situated today as we take a walk down this beautiful autumn pathway. Gosh, I bet it's been a year since I've been to this particular nature walk. You can hear a stream running off in the distance from the rains we just had. You can tell how wet the pavement is here. But that rain just makes colors more vibrant, and the light just glistens off leaves, and if the leaves are backlit, wow, even better. Well, this is a little sad. This tree in front of me, I have photographed before as fall approaches. The leaves turn bright red, but they all look dead. I don't know. Something's happened to this tree. I don't know. Not necessarily going to be photo worthy this fall. Except I think those are seeds, not leaves. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, well, we'll see. Most of the leaves are falling on the ground here, though. That's a shame. It's a beautiful tree in the fall. Some of y'all will recognize this bridge. Just posted it the other day on Facebook. My Texas fall series, when the leaves were all golden yellow. And so there's the creek running down there. A little bit upstream a minute ago, I saw a dad letting his, I don't know, there was 4 or 5 young girls play in the creek in the water after the rainstorm. You can see it's not flowing very fast. I don't think it's much of a danger from a flow, but I have seen on a few walks out here from time to time water snakes in these waters. So yeah, I'm not sure I'd let my kids walk around out there, but to each his own. Let's see what the other side looks like. It's a beautiful little creek. Limestone lines the creek, limestone riverbed there, creek bed. Yeah, beautiful. Lots of blue jays in this area. You can hear them, they sound like they're screaming. Beautiful birds, territorial. Get too close to their nest and they'll come after you. Hello, little guy. Can I get you gonna pose for me? These cameras have instituted a password, which drives me crazy. I'm gonna have to turn that function off. Cannot stand it. I guess it's meant to protect the camera, but no. I'm not punching in password every time I bring this thing up to my eye. And you are not in the right light, my friend. So no photo of you today. Oh, hello, Redbird. Yeah, I'd say we have about 4, maybe 5 weeks until fall really hits North Texas here hard with full fall colors. But everything's kind of dying because we haven't had any water, no rain. Thank goodness today we had several hours of it. A peaceful rain, not a deluge. It was nice. Some backlit leaves here. Spider webs, that's kind of nice. Let's see here. Not a good angle on you. Can you guys see the moss growing on this tree here? What I think is a dead tree actually, but yeah, there's a lot of that around here. It makes for some really pretty shots if you can get the sunlight hitting it in the right way. Just had a nice chat with a nice gentleman. It's funny, you walk around with a camera and anybody that likes photography strikes up a conversation with you. This guy that just passed me was primarily a Nikon shooter, but you know, it doesn't matter what platform you're using. Most photographers are kind and generous. Most of the photography equipment does essentially the same thing. They all have their little niche, and you know, when you start with a particular brand, you kind of stick with it. You're kind of brand loyal. A lot of photographers are brand loyal. But yeah, nice guy. Just out getting some steps on this beautiful day. Now you guys know I shoot with a Canon R5 mirrorless camera, my favorite camera of all time. It is the space shuttle of cameras. That means I still haven't figured out what all the buttons do, but perfectly capable for everything I need photography. Here's another tree I'm sad about. Planted in memory of Miles Ian Noah. So it was planted right before the big freeze of 2019. If you guys live in the area, you remember what I'm talking about. And it just about froze to death. And then a couple seasons later, it really started coming back. But wow, this thing looks totally dead now. That's sad. That freeze was pretty intense. We slept in single-digit temperatures for a week without power, huddled up under massive mounds of blankets, just letting our body heat keep us warm. That was a rough time when the power grid in Texas failed us. 2019, I think it was. So this nature path stretches on for miles. The segment of it that I most frequently walk is about a 3-mile round trip. So 1.5 miles down here, turn around, come 1.5 miles back. That gives me 7,000 steps, somewhere around there. And mostly what you see on this path is squirrels, lots of birds. And when they haven't mowed this field, there's a lot of wildflowers in the spring in this field. But some beautiful fall colors. You know, if the leaves weren't already dead. It's just a nice little walk. You can tell you're in the city though. You don't get too far away from those freeway noises you hear in the background back there. Let me park it over here on this little concrete or rock slab. See if I can disable that password function in this camera. All right. All right, successfully got that password option turned off. Nice try, Canon. I realized what you were trying to do, but that needs some tweaking. It can't just ask you for it every 3 minutes. I would say ask it when the camera's turned on, and then don't ask it again until the camera's turned off and back on. Well, here's a pretty flower. Sort of looks like honeysuckle, but I'm not sure that's right. I don't think it is. Sure is pretty in the sunlight. Let's see what we can get here. All right, wind, stop blowing around. Beautiful. Let's get a different angle here. Small depth of field, shooting at 1/125th of a second, f7.1, which is the most open that this thing can get at this focal length, and ISO 100. Now that's a little bright. Let me close that. Down to f11. Yeah, I kind of like those colors better when I do that. All right. Not a lot to shoot out here today, to be honest with you. Look at this guy. Dead for a long, long time, clearly, yet still standing on this limestone. Like there's no dirt. It's just upright on the limestone. That is a refuse to give up kind of tree right there. Let me see if I can get a shot of this refuse to give up tree with the reflection there in the water. That looks nice. And this creek as the backdrop. Let's just see what we get here. Ooh, it's way too zoomed in. Dang it. Don't have the right lens for this shot. Yeah, way too close. I bring the long lens on these walks because 9 times out of 10 there's a bird way the heck off that I want to capture. There's that freeway I was talking about. Yeah, I think that's still going to be too close. Yep. Well, here we are underneath that freeway. Highway 121 if you're interested. And it marks my halfway point in this walk. So here's where I turn around and head back. It's never really anything very interesting to shoot at this location, except for occasionally some white cranes like to come and see if they can't find their breakfast in that creek. So you'll see them walking along in that shallow water from time to time. All right, well, let's start our walk back. There's some backlit leaves, that's pretty. There's also a lot of side paths you can take off this concrete path if it wasn't so muddy. Kind of a nice excursion when you're walking this path. You can go down by the creek. Lots of places to go down by the creek. Got some great shots of waterfowl down by the creek in the past. All right, I kind of like how these leaves are trapped in this spider web and backlit by the sun. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's interesting. Need to lighten it up, I think, a little. There we go. Yep. Okay, I'm weird that way. Spider webs and leaves. This is an interesting color pattern of these leaves right here. They start to turn this color for the fall. I like how this looks. Boy, you can sure tell a temperature difference when you get in the shade. And since it rained all morning, the humidity is pretty high. But it feels good in the shade. It's almost a coolness in the shade. Quiet and peaceful. All right, guys, well, I want to thank you for joining me today and for tuning in to this stepchild of a YouTube channel. I really need to give it more effort, so apologies for that. But I'm glad you joined me today on this beautiful little walk. Yeah, to some it might be a little boring, but that's kind of what wildlife and landscape photography is. It's a lot of boring and then some pretty epic once in a while. But you're out here getting the experience. You're out here getting the steps. You're out here seeing things that you couldn't quite capture on film. Digitally, that is. I say film. Well worth the effort. Thank y'all for joining me. I like how this clip worked. Looks like my batteries, oh, hello. Battery might be going dead on this little camera, so it's a good time to shut down. We'll see you again. Till then, God bless.